Hey everybody, I'm jumping on today to talk about something that I took forever to master myself, and that was coming into conversations with a neutral attitude. I always thought that I knew what was the right thing to have as the outcome of that conversation, and it's only been, embarrassingly recently that I really got it about coming into conversations completely neutrally, without any opinion about what should happen. And this is really hard especially when you're doing it with your kids or your husband or somebody, coming into a conversation about what they did or what they ought to be doing or what they have an opportunity to do, to come into it completely open and not having an opinion about what they ought to choose to do. My name's Helen Hillix, and I'm an intuitive counselor and spiritual coach. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to get over that incredibly bad habit of coming into a conversation having an opinion about what the outcome ought to be, and how you can get over that, the steps you can take to get over that bad habit. So let me tell you a story first. This is a very old story, maybe 15 years old or so, more than that. My daughter came home and she had gotten a lower grade than normal in her, I think it was math. And I was like freaked out. Hey Liz, welcome. I was freaked out about this low grade that she got. I'm talking about coming into conversations without opinions, with neutrality, to explore with neutrality. So my daughter came home with a mid-semester grade. It was lower than normal, and I wanted to say, "What's the matter with you?" This was my normal reaction. Have you not been studying? What's the problem here? And instead of doing that, some bolt of lightning came to me, thank God, and I asked her, "How do you feel about that grade?" And she said, "No, I don't care about it. I don't care about it at all." And I was able to just let that go and let it be hers, and I was able to explore with her very neutrally. Do you have a plan? Do you have a plan of what you think you want to do next? And I don't even remember what she said, but the exciting part of the story is a few weeks later, she came running into the house after school and she said, Mom, I've got a B in math. And it totally reinforced me so much that I remember this, a decade and a half later, is that my not having a reaction enabled her to totally own the experience and decide for herself what she wanted to do. And of course, we all want to do well. We all want to make the right decisions. And so she was so totally proud of herself that she was able to turn that around. And I learned a huge lesson about being neutral during an inquiry. I could go on and on with examples of it. I used to think that I knew for sure that my husband should go to these certain healing workshops. And he at the time, this has all changed, but he at the time was very reluctant and resistant to doing so. And I would get into these long conversations with him in which I would basically try to talk him into going. And they were so fruitless, so unbelievably fruitless. And eventually I learned to be completely neutral and to go into an exploration with him. You have this opportunity to go to this workshop. How do you feel about it? What are your thoughts about it? What do you think could be blocking you or not blocking you? What do you think might be the advantage? And I was able to just go into it really neutrally. And of course, hey Judy, welcome. We're talking about going into conversations with neutrality instead of opinions. And after I was able to give up all of my opinions about what my husband ought to be doing, lo and behold, he does way more things than he has ever done, constantly doing things for his own healing and transformation. And I didn't have to talk him into any of them. I mean, it's just so crazy and so ridiculous if we would finally get this through our brains. And it applies to other people. Have you ever noticed, I'm sure you have, when somebody comes toward you with an opinion about what you ought to be doing or not doing, how incredibly defensive we immediately get, because we can feel it. We can feel that they're trying to push us into something or pull us into something. whatever it is, whether it's a call. A friend of mine's doing a health coaching thing, and I called in to one of her marketing people, which I should have expected, but they're giving me this line of things, and it wasn't neutral, and I felt immediately defensive. Like I don't want this. I want to just hang up. And I understand it. It's a marketing situation, but it's just a great example of how we react when things don't feel neutral, and how sensitive we all are to it. We can smell it a mile away, can't we? When something isn't neutral and somebody's coming to us with an agenda. So what can we do about this? What can we do about this? Well, going back to my example of my daughter came home with a D in math at her mid-quarter grade. And instead of me allowing myself to go with my first immediate reaction, I just took a pause. And, I've talked about taking a pause before, and it's I don't know. I have so many all-time favorite tools, but it is definitely in the top 10 of my favorite tools for living life in a healthy way, is to learn how to take a pause. Because when you do, then you can start using your knowledge and your wisdom. You can start connecting to your heart, and you can start listening to higher consciousness when you take a pause. You'd be amazed at the wisdom that just comes rushing in when you take a pause. And then you set your intention. Okay, I want to connect to this person. I want to be neutral when I'm connecting to this person. I want to bring that energy of neutrality here. And so, what are we talking about? Really, we're talking about consciousness, aren't we? Talking about consciousness, bringing awareness to what we're saying, instead of just going with whatever our first traditional historic reactivity is, whatever our historic ego opinions are. We are instead giving ourselves an opening to bring our consciousness and our awareness and our inner wisdom and higher consciousness into the conversation. And of course, it also requires that we trust the other person, that we trust them. And this is hard sometimes. It's really hard when we've had traumas in our childhoods and so forth. It's really hard to open our hearts and trust that other person. But man, oh man, the rewards of it, it just makes me cry. The rewards of opening your heart and having faith in that other person, they feel it. They feel it when you're having faith in them. And when you're truly listening to them with an open heart and open mind, they feel that, and it helps them feel safe, and then it helps them open up, and then it helps you have such a deeper exploration than you would have otherwise had. And you never know what might come of that conversation. The person, like my husband, may decide not to go to that particular workshop, but we might be closer than ever because I understand him better. So just remember this, to stop, take a moment, connect to yourself, connect to higher consciousness, bring awareness to the situation, and go toward it with an open heart and no opinion. And just follow and listen and connect to that person and see where your inquiry takes you. And think of it as an adventure, and it truly is. You really don't know. You're going into unknown territory. Every time you have a conversation with somebody, you're going into unknown territory. So let yourself think of it as an adventure. Ooh, I'm going on an adventure with my husband or my daughter or my client or, my friend or, the marketing agent on the phone, whoever it is. I'm going into an adventure with them. Let me see what happens when I open my heart and open my mind and just give my heart and give my awareness and my wisdom and bring that to the situation. It's an adventure. And sometimes the reward is beyond what you could have even imagined, even in a contentious feeling situation. If you go into it with an open heart and an open mind, you never know what will happen. So again, my name is Helen Hillix. I'm an intuitive counselor and spiritual coach. My motto is from my heart to yours, because I love you, I care, I want to support you in your journey as I am always continuing my own journey. I learn every time I do one of these live things. I learn something about myself, and it's an exciting life. It is truly an adventure. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. If it has been, please share it with others and invite them to comment, and I really love your feedback. I've gotten some amazing feedback the last couple of days of people telling me that what they tuned into is exactly what they needed to hear that day, and that it really supported their lives. And man, that touches me. It makes me cry when I hear that kind of feedback, because I don't know. I'm pouring my heart and soul out there, and I don't know if it's helping or not. People don't give feedback a lot, so it's really, really fabulous when you hear that you're making a difference in people's lives. I know it's the same for you. When you know you're helping somebody, it just fills your heart. So thanks again for listening, and I love you all, and I'll be talking to you soon.